number of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County in the last 24 hours is 1,118, with 11 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 7 additional cases were reported with no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Leslie Robbins. It's Monday, the first day of November. More than 5 million people have died around the globe now from COVID-19. The U.S. leads the way with more than 745,000 deaths, followed by Brazil with more than 607,000 deaths, and India with more than 450,000 deaths. In other parts of the world, health officials are seeing troubling signs of another coronavirus surge. As of October 26th, the European region experienced an 18% surge in new COVID-19 cases. Southeast Asia saw similar case increases and also reported a 13% rise in new COVID-19 deaths. The tragic milestone comes as the U.S. prepares to start vaccinating younger children. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is expected to approve Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for kids between 5 and 11 years old this week. 15 million doses have already started shipping out, with many locations receiving the shipments today. Now, the shots won't be administered until the CDC formally gives the green light, which is expected to take place either tomorrow or Wednesday. Less than 1/3 of parents say they plan to get their young children vaccinated right away. Many still fear that it is not safe and worry that it could lead to other problems down the road. Meanwhile, Moderna hit a roadblock with U.S. regulators. The Food and Drug Administration is delaying its decision on the company's COVID-19 vaccine for 12 to 17-year-olds while they study a rare risk of heart inflammation. The FDA told Moderna last Friday that its review could last until January. Moderna is also delaying its request for emergency use authorization of a lower dose of the coronavirus vaccine for 6 to 11-year-olds. Heart inflammation is an exceedingly rare risk for both Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, and it is more commonly seen in young men and/or boys. Public health officials have repeatedly said getting COVID-19 can cause heart inflammation at higher rates than getting it from the vaccine. Moderna says more than 1.5 million adolescents around the world got its vaccine, and the number of heart inflammation reports does not suggest an increased risk for those under 18. LA County is seeing infection rates go up for unvaccinated teenagers, and it's being linked to sports and social activities that have resumed with the new school year. County officials say unvaccinated teens have been more likely to test positive for the coronavirus than unvaccinated adults. Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer says the highest case rates have been among the unvaccinated, who are 8 times more likely than vaccinated teens to test positive for COVID. Previously, health officials said young adults were most likely to contract the virus, but recent data shows LA County's unvaccinated 12 to 17-year-olds have a monthly coronavirus case rate that is 32% worse than that of unvaccinated adults who are younger than 50. All high school students have been eligible to get vaccinated since May, but many of them still did not get the shot and are contributing to reported outbreaks at schools throughout LA County. About half of the nearly 1,000 COVID-19 cases linked to K-12 schools since August were related to youth sports. 20 of the 21 of these outbreaks happened among high school students. Public health officials encourage every parent to get their kids vaccinated if they are eligible. The Delta Plus variant known as AY4.2 is now in California. U.S. health officials detected 2 cases in our state, one in San Diego and the other in San Francisco County. As of Friday, New York had 5 confirmed cases. AY 4.2 grabbed scientists' attention back in July when it began to spread in the United Kingdom. It currently accounts for 10% of sequenced samples there. The CDC classified the original Delta variant as a variant of concern, saying it causes more infections, spreads more quickly, and may even cause more severe infection in unvaccinated people compared to earlier versions of the virus. As of October, Delta made up more than 99% of all sequenced cases in the U.S. The AY 4.2 is a descendant of Delta, but the CDC does not classify sublineages separately. Some evidence suggests this subvariant might be slightly more transmissible than the most common Delta variant, but more research is needed to know for sure. Health experts say it's possible that the AY 4.2 is present in more states and cases just have not been spotted yet. They add that new variants are generated all the time, and most of them will not change the trajectory of the pandemic. They hope studying Delta's mutations could lead to variant-specific treatments. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has COVID-19. She shared her condition on Sunday, saying she is vaccinated and only experiencing mild symptoms. She pulled out of President Joe Biden's overseas trip days before her diagnosis due to a family emergency, which she later confirmed was that members of her household tested positive for the coronavirus. Since then, she quarantined and tested negative daily on Wednesday through Saturday before testing positive on Sunday. Psaki says she is sharing her test result out of an abundance of transparency and added that she last saw President Biden on Tuesday when they sat outside more than 6 feet apart and wore masks. The president tested negative for COVID-19 on Sunday. He is currently in Europe and was tested as part of a requirement to enter the UK. President Biden received the 2-dose Pfizer vaccine in December and January, as well as his booster shot on September 27th. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., Psaki plans to return to work in person after quarantining for 10 days following a negative rapid test, as required by the White House. Well, one COVID-19 case at Shanghai Disneyland shut down the entire theme park and locked in nearly 34,000 guests. The COVID-positive woman visited Disneyland on Saturday, and as soon as park officials found out, they shut down the park and tested all 33,863 people who had been at the park on Sunday. Officials confirmed they all tested negative, but will continue monitoring their health and ask them to get tested again. Chinese media says an estimated 100,000 people visited the park on Saturday and Sunday, and they will all need to be tested. The strict measure being taken is an example of China's zero-tolerance pandemic prevention strategy. Shanghai Disneyland will remain closed through Tuesday. American Airlines canceled another 250 flights today after canceling nearly 2,000 flights over the weekend. The company says bad weather and high winds hit major hubs, including Dallas-Fort Worth on Thursday, leaving flight crews out of position. Chief Operating Officer David Seymour said the airline is proactively canceling flights to provide, quote, scheduling certainty for our crews. The airline also insisted that help is on the way, with 1,800 flight attendants returning today from their pandemic time off. The canceled flight stranded tens of thousands of passengers, including several here in Southern California. Both Burbank and LAX airports reported cancellations and delays on Sunday and today. Several countries began to lift pandemic-related travel restrictions today. Australia, Israel, and Thailand now allow some form of international travel, and South Korea reopened certain public spaces. Meanwhile, we are just days away from the U.S. reopening its borders to more international travelers. Starting November 8th, new vaccine requirements will be in place for most foreigners flying into the U.S., while severe travel restrictions on China, India, and much of Europe will be lifted. The White House confirmed that children under the age of 18 will be exempt from the new vaccine requirements, as well as those with some medical issues. Non-tourist travelers from nearly 50 countries with nationwide vaccination rates of less than 10% will also be eligible for exemptions. Those receiving the exemption will generally need to be vaccinated within 60 days after arriving in the U.S. The Biden administration also detailed requirements that airlines must follow to confirm that foreign travelers have been vaccinated before boarding U.S.-bound flights. The CDC said it would accept any vaccine authorized for use by U.S. regulators or the World Health Organization, and will accept travelers who got mixed-dose vaccines as well. The agency also said there are no religious exemptions for international travelers seeking to avoid COVID-19 requirements. We are less than 1 week away from daylight savings time. Remember to set your clocks back by 1 hour before you go to sleep on Saturday. Daylight saving begins at 2 a.m. local time on Sunday, November 7th. The annual practice of falling back means it'll get lighter earlier in the mornings and darker sooner in the evenings. Now, here are some fun facts about daylight saving time. It is called that because you are saving daylight. And contrary to popular belief, daylight saving time was not created to help farmers. Instead, the credit goes to Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of America. He first suggested the idea for the time switchback in 1784. The U.S. Department of Transportation is responsible for overseeing daylight saving time and the country's time zones. All states except Hawaii and Arizona, not including the Navajo Nation, observe daylight saving time. The Torrance community is invited to participate virtually in upcoming city council meetings by calling 310-618-2404, as the chambers are no longer open to the public. The next city council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, November 9th. You can watch the meetings right here on Citi Cable, stream it on our website, and on our social media platforms. Well, before we go at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community. Pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. The Halloween Movie in the Park event held over the weekend at Wilson Park was a huge success. The city's Community Services Department says hundreds of people gathered for the special screening of the 2019 Addams Family. They also enjoyed great food, music, performances, and even a costume parade led by Councilmember Mike Griffiths, who was dressed up as Uncle Fester. It sure looked like a very special evening under the stars. Now, if you have a great story, upcoming event, or a photo, video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We would love to hear from you. Well, that is our update for COVID-19 Today. We will see you back here tomorrow as Colin Kushner brings you the latest. Please be safe, stay healthy, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.